Hey guys, Ben here back with another video. I'm doing this on how to find areas in your local area to catch fish like GTs, Spanish mackerel, and other pelagic species. This video is going to be more about what areas you're looking for and how to set your boat up and how to redrift those areas in particular to maximize your chances on catching fish. One thing I need to reiterate is when you're doing this type of fishing in Brisbane, it is about repetition. It is not one drift and expect to catch something. It's do a lot of drifts for hours upon hours and hope to maybe get one strike in Brisbane. So if you're persistent, patient, you will be rewarded. There are some giants that live off our islands we have around here and local reefs. So hopefully you get something from this video. Sit back, enjoy, and leave a comment. Alrighty, here we are on the computer. We have a screenshot of a reef system that is in southeast Queensland. I personally haven't finished this area actually since before COVID. So yeah, five odd years ago. Now, I have on the left side of the screen here, which you can see just the four things that I kind of mentioned earlier. How do we find a zone, setting up on that area, redrifting that area, and when to move on, when to call it quits in that particular area. Something I do want to kind of touch on that this doesn't always apply to topwater fishing. It can apply to, fishing soft plastics, dropping baits, and in some regards, trolling, if you will, if you're that way inclined. So the first thing we'll do is we'll figure out how do we find a zone. So basically, we are looking for a deep body of water, like out here, that comes up onto a very, prominent reef system or ledge, if you will. So this is a great area. We have a 30-meter contour line out here, which you can see, and then it comes all the way up to 6 meters, all right? But obviously it steps up. So, 30, 20, and then to 6. And there's that 10-meter contour there as well. Okay, so that to me is a massive ledge, okay? And what that's going to do is that's going to create a pressure edge. So the next thing we got to do, we found the reef system. We got to figure out which way the current is going to make sure this works, all right? So I'm just going to get rid of some of these lines. Typically in southeast Queensland, our current runs north-south like that. Okay, but every now and then we do get, and I'll change color for you, we do get the odd bit of reverse current, so south-north. Which one do I prefer? Definitely up here, north-south is generally better, but I do have some areas in particular times of the year where reverse current is unreal, particularly for Spanish mackerel. And I've caught some absolute donkeys. And yeah, so I wouldn't write it off, but as long as there's good reverse current when it's on, it can fish really well. So current speed, I should mention, we're generally looking, so I might just leave that over here, but I'll change the color. So how fast do you want it? Well, you definitely don't want it slow and you don't want it too fast. Okay, there is a kind of a happy medium. Maybe I'll do speed up here. Speed. I like anywhere between 2/3 kilometers. Okay. So for people that use knots, 1 knot, 2 knots of current. So we've established that we've got north-south current. Oh, you can't even see that speed section up here, but yeah, 2 to 3 kilometers. H. That'll do. Okay, so we got a current. We know it's coming from the north-south, right? So it's coming down this way. It's hitting this ledge that we've established. So about this area here, that's going to create the pressure edge, right? So that is generally where all the bait's going to hold up and your big predatory fish are going to sit. And then if it was obviously reverse current, I'll just go back to the blue so we're not getting confused. This would be the front edge here. So where the current impacts the reef zone or the ledge or whatever you're fishing first is generally going to be the biggest pressure edge, right? That's not to say though that you're not going to get fish on top of the reef or out to the side or off the back of it. It does happen, but generally speaking, it's the front edge. So I'm just going to get rid of, I'll leave that blue on there. We've figured out that we want to fish this part because this is where the current's hitting it first. How do we set up on it? So point number 2 now. Right, we've figured out our zone. So let's go back to that. Cool, we've done that. Setting up on that area. So we'll change color. Purple. This is where a lot of people maybe forget, don't know, or just disregard in general, is when you set up on this area, you don't want to drive through the area you plan on fishing. So for example, if we're coming down from this area here, South Reef, bottom of the page, we're not going to drive through the reef to then turn around and set up and fish it like that. Big no-no, right? Boat noise, which is the biggest one. Transducer pings, if you're into that. It's mainly boat noise for me. All the wash you create, that's going to shut down a zone very quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. When you're setting up, let's say we're coming from down here, all right? You want to drive all the way around, and then circle back. And then that's where we're going to start. Pick a point where you know you're going to drift over it. And then when I get to here, boom, my motor is off. All right, I'm switching my motor off, setting my boat up so I can drift sideways to the reef if possible. And that gives everyone casting on my boat ample area to cast and cover water. And then we're just going to drift slowly down, hit the front edge. Remember, this is going to be the strike zone, generally speaking. But we're going to cast all the way over the top of this. And we're even going to do 1 or 2 casts off the back edge because you just never know. Cool, we're off the reef. Now what do we do? Okay, it's the same thing as setting up. You want to drive away from the reef, back around, and then maybe set up on a different area. So we'll set up on this outside edge here, okay? So this time, we're just going to hit this corner here. All right, boom, boom, boom. Same thing, couple of casts off the back. And then we're going to go around, repeat, and then we'll just keep covering areas of this reef that we haven't covered. Can you double back on the same area? Absolutely. If I have like 5 strikes and no hookups on one drift, I will hit that same drift line. But if I don't get anything or anything, worth sticking around for, try a new zone or new area on that reef. So what's the worst thing you can do here? And what's the most common thing I see people do? Topwater fishing, even bait fishing. You're in the same boat really if you're fishing in southeast Queensland. They're going to drift over. Right, cool. They drift over the reef and then they just drive straight back over the top. Okay, they might only be doing 6 to 10 knots. Okay, but still you're driving over it, creating vibration, whatever, and noise. It's just going to shut the place down really quick. So yeah, even if you are bait fishing, topwater fishing, whatnot, drive around the reef. Okay, it makes such a big difference. That's not to say though, if someone is driving over the top of the reef that you're not going to catch fish, your chances are just really limited, okay? So that covers point 2, setting up. Remember, you want to drive all the way around, start off very far back, okay, motor off, drift over the top, off to the back edge, redrifting. We want to drive around the reef, set up on a new area. When to move on? Well, that's not too difficult to find out, but essentially, first thing, if there's no current, so if there's none of this, I won't stay there very long. But if there is current, I will hit the whole reef, doing all my drifts. Then if there's nothing there, yep, I'll go try a new area. And then the last thing, and probably which will rub a few gears here the wrong way, is if you have a troller, so let's say this black line is now the troller, and they start doing this, which is what every troller pretty much does. Yeah, see you later, bye-bye, I'm off. I have caught Spanish mackerel in that sort of situation with trollers, but GTs, maybe could only think of maybe once where it's happened. But yeah, that zone's ruined. Come back in a few hours when it's been left alone. Or maybe next week, for example. All right, so basically, any trollers, and no offense to them, I mean, it is effective, free ocean, but yeah, if they start trolling in your area, you're probably going to move on, okay? Cool. So I hope that helps you a little bit. Well, hopefully you learned something from that little voiceover. I guess the big takeaway I want to stress is when you are approaching a reef, never drive over the top. And that goes for when you're redrifting as well. Loop around like I demonstrated in the video. So important. I see a few topwater fishermen out off my local. They will just drift their line and then they'll just drive straight back over where they drifted and fish again. You're never going to catch anything decent doing that. Not to mention, you're shutting down the zone and you're fishing the same water you've already drifted over. So it's about varying your drift lines, staying away, trying to have that stealthy approach, and then hopefully that increases your chances. Anyway, I hope you found this video informative. I plan on doing a few more like this. If you have any more questions, leave a comment. If you're interested in a charter, check out my website, brisbanesportfishing.com.au. Thanks.